In the last 5 years of civil war in Syria, almost 250,000 Syrians have died. More than 4.5 million have fled the country, and over 7.5 million have been internally displaced. David Adcock and his church, Glad Tidings, have just been approved to receive and sponsor 3 Syrian refugee families. David, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Good to be here.
Yeah, you've kind of been on the front lines of this crisis for a while. You are the CEO of ERDO, which is Emergency Relief and Development Overseas. That's a mouthful.
Yes, it is. We call it ERDO.
ERDO, okay. Yeah. And you serve as the missions team coordinator at Glad Tidings Church.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about what's going on over in Syria right now.
Sure.
What are the conditions that these people are facing?
Well, you just talked about the fact that in a country of 23 million people, 11 million people have now lost their homes and are displaced. 4 million have left the country, and but another 7 million are not in their homes and are really in refugee camps right across their country. And those 4 million people that have left are in refugee camps and in all kinds of different places, right across in Jordan, in Lebanon, Egypt, and further. As you know, this is the biggest humanitarian disaster of our age. There's more people now. There are more people now moving since World War II, right across Europe and now around the world. Canada's put up its hand and said, we will welcome at least 25,000, hopefully even more, over the next while. And so GT, our church, Glad Tidings, is delighted to be a part of that response. Yes. But right now, in my other hat at ERDO, we're responding. Canadians are responding and helping us respond and help people right now as they face winter.
Yes.
So with winter blankets and extra insulation for tents, fuel, stoves, and food to get through the next 4 or 5 months. I mean, I was just looking at some of the stuff some of the stories that we're hearing. I mean, these are mothers who really just long to create family, and a home for their children. These are children that haven't been in school for years and need the structure of school. These are our dads that really want to provide for their own family. These are our neighbors. And whether we help them in Syria or in Turkey, in Lebanon, around their own country, or whether we help them here in Canada, we represent Jesus well when we welcome strangers.
And Glad Tidings is prepared to welcome 3 families. So 28 of the Pentecostal assemblies of Canadian churches have been approved to host families, to sponsor them. And Glad Tidings is one of them.
That's right.
So you all are getting ready to welcome 3 families.
Yes. We just got an email just a little while ago that our families may well be coming sooner than we were anticipating. So by the time the end of February comes, they may well be in Burlington.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
And what is the process? How do these families get placed with certain churches? Because I imagine there are hundreds of thousands of families that would like this opportunity.
Well, that's an interesting story. One of our pastors in our church in Glad Tidings is actually from Jordan. And he was visiting his family last summer back in Jordan, and he connected to the families that are coming. So those families are being looked after by ERDO's program partner in Jordan, the Assemblies of God in Jordan, and they have a ministry to help refugees in Jordan that have come over from Aleppo into Jordan. And Pastor Salem was visiting his church, which is the church that ERDO partners with, and was introduced to these families. These are UNHCR families. So we actually said, if those families are on the refugee highway and are eligible, we would be delighted to welcome them. And so we did.
Wow.
So we actually have this back channel and this story, and so we're looking forward to seeing our families soon.
That is so neat. And tell me about the families. What all does it take to sponsor a family? What does that look like?
Well, for our church, what that really takes is that a church needs to be willing and ready to look after a family, excuse me, to look after a family for 12 months. That means that we need to sort out their accommodations when they come, and then their longer-term accommodations in some rental apartment or a house.
And the church takes on this payment,
and
correct?
The church takes on that responsibility.
Wow.
So at GT, when we realized that there was a family that was really 3 families that were extended, like it's a grandmother and her married daughter and her married son and their families, and then her single
So how many
sons.
people in total?
11.
11, wow.
So we said, if not us, who? Who else has the capacity? And we think that Burlington is a great place to welcome somebody to Canada. So we thought Burlington was a great host city. We think that our church had the capacity to do that, and so we're delighted to be able to do that.
How has your church been anticipating their arrival?
It's been amazing. Our church has really risen to the opportunity. Already, all the furniture that we need to furnish 3 houses or 3 apartments has already been donated. And now we're looking for our church to rise to the occasion of paying rent for the next year. And our people are thrilled. I mean, they are, almost over the moon and with the opportunity to do this. It has galvanized. We have people that have volunteered to help our families find education and get into the school system. We have people that are helping with ESL classes. We have people, doctors in our congregation that have put up their hands and said, we'd like to help make sure that our families get access to the health center. I was just speaking in another church. God seems to be bringing the right people at the right time.
That's what I was going to say. It seems like God is really providing you with this great team of people who can welcome these refugees and make them feel at home.
I think we forget the skills and the talents that many people in our congregations have, and when given an opportunity, will just kind of really lean in. I was speaking yesterday at a church and mentioned that the Glad Tidings was sponsoring a family. Now that church wants to do so, but one of the women that was in that congregation came to me and said, listen, can I help? Even the GT families. And she said, I'm a maternity consultant, and one of the mothers of one of our families just had a baby in a refugee situation in Jordan. So she's coming over to Canada with a 2-month-old baby. Now I've been able to hook her up with somebody that knows the maternity system here, and we'll make sure that she gets all the help she needs.
God is so good. Really quickly, because we're running out of time, but tell me how you're prepared to help these families after the 12-month period.
Relationship obviously extends. Friendship and commitment goes beyond the legal commitment. So we will do what we need to do and journey with these families, make sure that they settle well, settle appropriately, and build a future for themselves.
Excellent. Well, David, thank you so much for what you're doing through ERDO and through your Glad Tidings Church. And if you want to find more information about how you can get involved, the website is at the bottom of the screen. Thank you, David.